learn and absorb everything. There's so many things I didn't think that I would need to learn or that it wouldn't come in valuable.
You probably make some better decisions, but when you're stressed or you're bored and you decide I'm going to just grab whatever I want because I'm stressed and because I'm bored.
And as we got into a real estate or entrepreneurial mindset, everything that you've learned becomes valuable. Anything that you can hinge onto, whether good, bad, ugly, just learn from everybody, every single person.
Welcome to the Healthy Investor Podcast with Bob Mastroianni, where you and I will learn from successful real estate investors, entrepreneurs, and other highly driven individuals about their journey and the healthy habits and routines that play an integral part of their growth.
All right, welcome back to the Healthy Investor Podcast. I'm your host, Bob Mastroianni, and I'm excited today. I have my friend, Michael Sanchez, with me. Michael is an owner and operator of Management That Is, LLC. He has been a full-time real estate investor for the last 5 years. Before this, he was a project manager in the construction industries, leading over $200 million in commercial construction. Michael is a father and husband first, and a real estate investor second. He's doing a lot of really exciting projects. He's in New Mexico, and I really want to deep dive into some of the really cool things that you're doing. So, Michael, how are you today?
Doing good. How are you doing, Bob?
Great. I'm so glad we were able to catch up. This is one I've been looking forward to for a bit. I know it took us a little bit to be able to get scheduled and kind of catch everything up. So, tell us a little bit about your journey and when you moved into real estate investing. I'd love to deep dive into some of the opportunities that you found and some of the really cool creative projects that you've had along the way.
Sure. So whenever I started, I think I was in a W-2 working construction at the time, and I happened to purchase one of my first homes, and I got a discounted deal that needed a lot of work. I lived in it and did it myself. This was before I had kids, before I had a wife or anything. I was full-fledged working full-time, but at night I'd come home and work on this property. And after living in it and working in it for 6 months and finishing it up, and then when I went to sell it, a year later, I made more money on that house than I was making on my salary for the year for construction. It was a really good project for me. And I think that was the initial light bulb. And it wasn't until a few years later that I was in the construction industry, like you had said in the bio. And then I decided to open my own project management and general contracting company, working all federal government projects, highly complex projects, high stress levels. And then right around the time that we were doing real well, we had a lot of contracts that were wrapping up, and we got hit with a bunch of new contracts that they wanted to give to us. They were going to cover like a 5 to 8 year period, maybe some of them up to 10 years. And I had been so stressed out working like that it was the perfect time that said, nope, we're not taking any new contracts. We're going to go flip houses, and we're going to get out of this altogether. So, we had a lot of success as the project management company. My wife and I, we had a lot of contracts. We had a lot of opportunity, but we burned the ships, as they say, told them we're not taking any more contracts, and got out of the federal government projects, which was probably the best thing that we've ever done. I mean, the stress levels just evaporated, and we started working on our own. And from there, we started flipping houses, did that for a few years, which was great. And we weren't getting where we wanted, and shifted into multifamily. And so that's where we still flip houses now. We do a lot of single family stuff, but that's a lot more to fuel the vehicle to get us to more multifamily properties. And so we focus on heavy lifts on both sides because the construction background. And our main focus on multifamily is taking abandoned buildings, being office space, schools, hotels, hospitals, and turning them into multifamily using conversions or adaptive reuse, as we call it in the space. And it's been really exciting. We're just getting started. It feels like we're just scratching the surface, but it's been a great journey.
Wow. So I want to go a little deeper into some of the things that you said here. So first of all, I think so many people that have the entrepreneurial bug have this idea of, making that jump, making that leap. And it had to be a tough time for you when you had the opportunity for multiple new contracts, which to some may feel like stability, to take the leap and say, no, I'm not going to accept these contracts, which was your comfort zone, right? You were able to have success in that business, but you knew that you wanted to go somewhere else. And I just can picture that that probably was a tough decision. And also it had some growing pains, I'm sure, but it's tough to take that leap of faith. But I'm sure looking back, you probably would have done it exactly the same way.
Oh yeah. And I think it's the hardest thing to do, but the most rewarding and the biggest turning point for somebody that is an entrepreneur. When you're spending all your time, I mean, when we were working these contracts, I was doing 18, 20-hour days, not getting
Mm.
any sleep. We're just I was running every project, doing every single type of job on my own. We were calling ourselves a project management firm, but it was my wife and I. And and we were running, other project management firms have 40 people. We were competing with them and doing the same level of projects. But I remember standing in the office. My wife was so angry. She wanted, like, I had to have the speaker on mute because she's yelling at these people in the project because it's just going so much stress. We hang up the call. I feel like throwing my computer out the window. And then we talked to some friends that had recently left the same environment we were working in. And we thought they were crazy. And they had done it about 6 months prior. And when I talked to them after, they went and bought a bar and opened up a bar right in the middle of nowhere. And they were doing great and they were so happy. And, that was good to hear their voice coming out of one conversation where we're feeling so stressed. And then talking to these other people that we knew used to be just as stressed as us and now sound completely happy, completely stress-free,
Mm.
doing their own thing. And that kind of pushed it over. But I think ever since we've done it, I'm going around telling too many people, just quit your job, go into real estate. I probably shouldn't be telling everybody to do that. My wife tells me kind of calm down, stop telling people that, but it was the best thing that we ever did. Best decision for sure.
That's excellent. Well, you're creating your own competition in your market, right? You're making
Yeah,
everyone a real estate investor.
absolutely.
So, I want to deep dive a little bit into you. You mentioned the abandoned properties that you've purchased and some of these conversions and adaptive reuse. You and I have had conversations about these before, and it's just very interesting to me. I love that you are able to find these properties that may have been something else in the past. Maybe it was a school or a healthcare facility or something, and you have the vision to see them as potentially having another use, sort of revitalizing that property. And then you also have the skill set and the team around you to be able to put it into action. So let's talk about a couple of those opportunities.
Yeah. So the most recent one that we just completed was a 7,000 square foot office space slash warehouse. It was like offices in the front and then had some warehouse in the back. And we took that and we converted it into seven 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,000 square feet apartment, like luxury apartment homes, top of the market, great area. And we have to go through everything for those. We have to submit the design to the city. We have to go through full construction inspections on everything, get a change of use to do it. But a small company like ours with limited capital, we're able to go into these areas in prime locations that otherwise we wouldn't be able to afford. So it's a lot of sweat equity and a lot of project management, a lot of, just a lot of heavy lift to get there. But now our finalized, stabilized product is right next to the Class A properties, right? We are a Class A property where typically, a lot of our counterparts that we work with, you have to start kind of in the C space, and then move your way up. And we're by putting the extra work in, we're able to find these great locations and compete right alongside them and really push the value of the building by changing it from office to multifamily. Our cap rate's better, right? It's more compressed. Our value of our building goes up, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah. So from you mentioned finance and you mentioned capital. My guess would be that the beginning portion of it, the construction portion of the project, is probably a different type of financing than once you have the project up and operational and um, rented out.
Yeah,
So can you talk a little bit about that? So what does that
sure.
normally look like from a capital raise perspective? I mean, are you bringing investors in, or are you using banks, a combination of both?
So we own all of our properties 100%, my wife and I. We haven't done any partnering yet or syndications or anything like that. We have a very, very small portfolio at the moment, but luckily we were able to use the education that we'd been working on in real estate to go to the bank and get them to create a product for us that was our long-term product. So we've talked to a lot of people in the space that do have to take on bridge debt to do the construction, and then they have to go get new debt once they're finished and stabilized. But we actually were able to get a product that we had fixed debt on long term. So we have, like on this last project, we have 5% interest rate on a 10-year balloon on a 30-year AM right out for long term. So we're not worried about that. The bridge debt would have completely killed us, and that's what we told the bank. Like, we don't know at the time. We were still at 5%. We were at 4.5 when we started working with them, and by the time we got the loan, it's at 5. And as everybody knows, a year later, it's at 6.5, 7%. So it was really good for us. We wanted to lock it in. We did not want bridge debt on that, and we worked with the credit union, so they're more flexible and more able to give us products that we want. But they really wanted the multifamily sector. And we really leaned on our portfolio and our experience from a construction background to show them, hey, like, your risk is mitigated on the construction side. We have shown what we can deliver on a construction basis. So what we're telling you you're going to get is what you're going to get. And so, they're conservative on their numbers, of course, but we finished the project out, and now we are getting a secondary loan from the same bank to recapture the money that we put into the project. But it was really cool. The education really drove us to be able to negotiate with the bank, which we didn't know you can negotiate with the bank. We had no idea. Once we learned that, all bets were off. I mean, we were going after it hard. So,
well, that's excellent that you can create that relationship and have those conversations with the bank, and that they were open to it. And I understand that, working with credit unions or local banks sometimes have a little bit more flexibility as far as what they're able to do for your lending product. So you're able to get financing that is the same essentially through the entire project. If you didn't want to do your secondary refinance, you wouldn't have to. Is that the position?
Yes. The only reason we're doing the secondary is to pull our money out to go after the next project. So the way it worked was, we pulled out our 401ks, my wife and I, and we put 375 into the project, cash of our own cash. And now 15 months later, we're doing the secondary loan to pull our money. We're getting about 340,000 of that back, and the property stabilized, and we're right there. So by the end of the year, we would have recaptured our entire investment, and we're able to use that and go after our next property.
And so out of curiosity, now what is the value of that property at this point, and
Sure.
what does cash flow look like?
We are all in for 1.7 million is our total cost basis for everything. And we are worth, our appraisal came back the other day, and it's 2.58. So we forced appreciation on that by about $880,000 more than we had put into it for the 7 doors. And our cash flow perspective right now, we're actually cash flowing about $7,000 a month on that property. After we hit the secondary loan, we'll be at $7,000 a month. So about $1,000 a door, which is really good. But it's, we're everything in-house, right? We have property management in-house. We do charge a little bit for that, but we're able to bring down our expenses because we have our construction crews that act as our maintenance if we need them. My wife's running the whole property management, which is amazing. My wife is probably a bigger part of the company than I am. She's doing great. And so by keeping everything in-house, we're really trying to maximize the profit per door that we have. We don't want thousands and thousands of doors, maybe not even hundreds. We just want our little portfolio, but we want it to be operating very, very efficiently and, maximizing the value of the building and maximizing the cash flow we're getting on a month-to-month.
So I'm sitting here jotting numbers down as you're going along because I'm trying to keep up with some of the things that I picked up. So obviously, as you'd mentioned, you put about $375,000 in. Obviously, you put time, energy, effort. You put a lot of work into this property. But now here we are. How long has it been?
15 months.
15 months later, you're going to refinance $340,000 back, which means you're going to have about $30,000 into a deal that you have $800,000 worth of equity, plus you're cash flowing $84,000 a year, which is a really nice chunk of change for something that you have, that's a 250, almost 300% ROI on your 30 grand that's into the property. That's amazing numbers, Michael. That is really awesome. Congratulations. That's a great deal.
Thank you. I mean, the amount of effort that we put into it to keep costs down on something like this, because the construction costs are out there. I mean, we paid 500,000 for the building, but then we put an additional 1.2 million into it for the construction side. So the majority of the project was not the acquisition or anything like that. It was the entire construction. But that is me and my wife. My wife's doing the design right on everything alongside with the architect. She's drawing that up. We're doing the pro forma on something like this. We probably had to do a pro forma about 100 times because we're switching the unit mix, we're switching the number of bathrooms, we're switching the square footage, we're redrawing it until we find exactly what we want, and then it's full blast, right? Then I'm on site as the construction lead, and as we've grown, I'm pulling back more from that, which would be the goal. I don't want to be the one on site swinging the hammer, of course. I'm pulling away from that, but still, with this being our first major project like that, there was a lot of hands, a lot of personal time of my wife and I invested in the project ourselves.
Yeah, and I've had the pleasure of meeting your wife on a couple of occasions. I thought she might have joined us on here today, but you had mentioned that you are in the process of sort of adjusting roles and responsibilities and really kind of clearly defining who's going to be in charge of what and take responsibility of what. Working together with your spouse in the business, I'm sure it comes with its advantages, and there's probably some tough times. How do you decide, what are the best roles and responsibilities for each of you?
It's been really great being around so many just very accomplished people, particularly couples, right? And all the different mentorships and education that we have in the real estate space. We're surrounded by so many great people that have such great advice. So with that, they've given advice of all the books they've read and all the education they've had. They have us looking for, what do you particularly love to do in your business? What part stands out to you? What are the tasks that you like to do? So we went ahead and did, the Excel spreadsheets that says, these are all the tasks I do on a daily basis. These are the ones that give me energy, make me feel happy. These are the ones that feel like they take away energy
Drain
and
you, yeah.
drain you. And first of all, we compared those, and it worked out. It could have been one of those things where me and my wife wanted the same roles, but we didn't. So that was, I don't know if that's just more luck, but a lot of the stuff that I wanted to do was not what she wanted to do. So we were able to separate those. And then now we're going through the part of the business where we're trying to find other people to fill the rest of the voids of the stuff that both of us don't want to do necessarily. And so my wife is very motivated and very, she likes to implement things quickly. So whenever she decided this is my part of the company only, I mean, she ran with it. She took the property management. She's getting mentored by Shannon with Jake and Gino is her mentor. So they meet
Oh, yeah.
every biweekly, and just they're building out the property management systems, and she's running with that. And she's great at the design. She still has to tell me, stop telling me that's not my role anymore. I'm like, I need your help over here on this. I need your help on that. So, but it's a lot of the education, right? Is what helps us define our business and define our roles and responsibilities, and just really digging into it. We have weekly meetings that we have to have that are just me and her going over the business. And without those meetings, it seems like every time we have to miss one because we're extremely busy, the business goes off kilter a little bit, just because we're continuously defining those roles and responsibility. The business is moving so quickly, we have to continue to just define everything.
Wow. That's awesome. Well, you're doing great things. What is your market? We didn't really get into what your market is.
So we're in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We cover an area being Santa Fe, which is just north of us, Albuquerque, and then Valencia County, just south of us. Everything is within an hour and a half radius from our home. We invest in our backyard. We believe in it. The population growth here is so amazing that we don't really have a reason to go out into any other markets. We did all the education that shows all of the factors that you should look at when picking a market, and our market already fits all of those. So we didn't need to leave. We focus on our area, and we really like that. We really like to be able to physically walk into a space, because we've seen a lot of things go awry for people when they don't have boots on the ground, and we're definitely the definition of boots on the ground, where we have our hands in everything here. So we need to get better about looking at markets outside of our own, for the future. When we start doing really well in the business, we do want to invest out of our state. But for right now, we don't have any reason to leave our area.
Well, and I love that you're creating vertical integration, right? Now you're going into your own property management. Obviously, you're already doing your own project management and construction. And as you continue to grow, um, that vertical integration in your own market is really going to be a strength for you and having control of your opportunities.
Yeah, and that's why I think we're not really spreading ourselves. We're already spreading ourselves so thin on the different areas of business that we're covering throughout the project life cycle that I don't think we could handle going to another market where we're so used to having control of everything we're doing here and knowing the market inside and out. And we're learning, each section of the business is learning every day. If we tried to spread ourselves and go looking in Carolina or Florida or something, we completely blow it. So, for right now, we definitely have to stay focused, and we're just trying to um, make each part of the business as efficient as possible. But with that, we can look at anything. We can look at existing multifamily. We're looking at so many different types of product. We're still flipping single family houses here, so we're just really trying to make each part of the company complement each other and just keep growing here.
I love that you've grown your own niche and you're really doing a good job at it. So congratulations and continued success. I love hearing your stories and we've had, like I said, we've had the opportunity to spend some time together, have lunch together a couple of times and all, and it's really great to see your progress and where your business is going. So congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's always a pleasure talking with you, Bob. It's good.
So I want to move on. This is the Healthy Investor Podcast, and I like to talk to successful entrepreneurs, business owners, investors about some healthy habits and routines that are a part of their life. And what does that look like for you today?
Yeah. So one big thing is getting up early. I think the majority of everybody I know that's successful gets up early. So I wake up between 4 to 5 every morning and start. I do Bible study in the morning. Start with that, then do a time blocking on my day. Because every day is so different. I've been trying to do time blockings for the week, but really it's been going really well. Just blocking out each day and coming up with the tasks that I want to accomplish that day, and then going into there and then trying to get after I time block the day, then I try to find a spot to get some fitness in, which is more new for me. I've went through phases of my life that do really well on fitness and then fall off, and then do really well and then fall off, and really trying to get a consistent routine that makes it where it's unavoidable, it's in there, right? And so those type of things are what I'm working on now, and it's great to be around good people because I get a lot of support in that effort.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. So before we jumped on, one of the things that you had mentioned was that being around, we are in the same real estate investment education group, and we have many similar friends, and you said that being around a lot of these other investors and entrepreneurs has helped to push you into a direction where you're starting to focus on your health. And I just thought that was an amazing comment because it's part of the reason that I wanted to do this podcast. It's part of the reason I wanted to have this focus is because I've found the more successful entrepreneurs, investors, and just growth-minded people that I've been around that the healthy habit portion, there's always some sort of healthy related tie. There's something that they're focusing on. And I think we all start to realize as you head down that road that, your business can be as successful as you want it to be. But if your health isn't there, then you're going to have a struggle, either way. So you really kind of have to make that time. So I know you'd mentioned that you were involved with wrestling. So what does fitness look like for you right now? And do you have any goals where you want it to go, or what does that look like?
Sure. The main thing is going to be weight loss. Right now is the biggest thing. I think the most exciting part of this whole real estate journey is in the W-2 world. I think is where my habits got extremely bad. When I was talking, we're working 18 to 20-hour days, stressed out completely, but sitting down in front of a computer, right, doing all those things. And now, like you said, our business can be whatever we want it to be. So my fitness right now is just going to the gym in the morning, but working up towards a goal. I'm getting back my goal because I'm a big hunter. So I go and I do, we're doing a lot more hiking lately. I'm here in the mountains in Albuquerque. We have a lot of hiking trails and everything all around us. So doing a lot of hiking and building up my capacity there. Like, I did a hike the other day for about 6 hours on a Saturday morning, started like at 4 in the morning, finished by 10, right? And went straight up the side of a big mountain over here, the Sandia Mountains, and that was great. And so just a lot of supplemental Stairmaster and stuff like that, trying to build up my hunting capacity so I could be in the mountains as long as I can. And then coaching, either wrestling. My son just joined football and starting to coach that, and trying to run around with the kids and do everything. But the main goal for the end of this year is the weight loss and getting back to more healthier weight, and then going from there. So that's involving clean eating, more working out, and fasting has been something that I more recently put into the thing, which has actually been changing everything. The fasting has been amazing. So I do intermittent fasting, but I just stepped it up to once a month. I do a 3-day fast, and it couples really well with my Bible study that I've been doing. It was crazy how it paralleled a lot of the Bible studying I was doing was leaning into fasting. And then when I saw the health benefits of it at the same time, it was just a great parallel. So once a month, I'll do a 3-day fast, and then the rest of the time I'm doing intermittent fasting. So it's been great. It's really changed my mindset towards food, which is something that I needed, because I was doing a lot of stress eating before.
Yeah.
Now I was stress eating. So, real estate deal, somebody calls, I'm underwriting, I'm getting stressed. I walk to the fridge, eat something, this and that. But whenever you take a 3-day break, it really just dissolves that relationship with the food, because for 3 days straight, I didn't eat anything and I was fine. I felt fine. I was a little tired by the end, but I felt good. I felt great. So I didn't need to be doing that. So it was really cool.
Wow. I have not ventured into longer than I do intermittent fasting also. I think my longest fast ever was about 20 hours. I've never fasted a full day or 3 days. So that's really interesting to me. I feel like intermittent fasting has changed some things in my life. And it's funny that you mentioned stress. I feel like, at least for me personally, and I'm sure, there are others that feel this way also, stress and boredom. Stress eating and boredom eating are usually when you're making bad decisions about what you're eating, right? If you're on a schedule and your schedule says, oh, it's 4:00, I eat dinner, and dinner was prepared, and et cetera, you probably make some better decisions. But when you're stressed or you're bored and you decide, I'm going to just grab whatever I want because I'm stressed and because I'm bored, I feel like that's always when you're making poor decisions. And listen, some of those poor decisions taste really good. So I'm not trying to shoot them all down. I went from someone who was eating ice cream almost every night of the week to intermittent fasting. And I'm like, wow, I probably didn't need that ice cream 5 or 6 nights a week.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know if the longer fast will be something that stays consistent throughout my life, but I think with the reset that I'm trying to accomplish, it's very beneficial now. Like, I have 60 pounds I want to lose over from here to the end of I'm at 50. I did 10 this month, so the last 2 quarters of the year, I want to do 60 pounds, and that'll put me more at a healthy BMI, healthy weight. And the long fasts have actually just really, like I said, I think it's more of a mindset thing, that gaining control back over the food, over the stress eating, over the boredom eating, and then just allowing your body to completely reset. Like, all the health functions have a longer time where they're not digesting food at all for a 3-day period, and then go from there. I used to be in wrestling, so I used to cut a lot of weight. So it didn't seem that I'm definitely not doing that. I'm drinking so much water. It's crazy, but it didn't seem that outlandish for me. I'd done it before in my past. So, but that was unhealthy, and this is a lot more healthier, sustainable way to do it.
So your 3-day fast, is that water only, or is there anything else? Are you adding supplements, coffee, or anything like that?
I'm still working that out. The first 2 that I did was water only, and I was like trying to follow the rules. I'm a really binge personality, I guess I would say, that if I eat just one thing, I'll eat everything, right? Or if I do that. And so, like, I read the rules and it said no caloric intake, just water. So I did that, but I've been researching more and trying to see which supplements I should probably do from a health standpoint to do that won't break it. But I was really trying to explore the benefits of no caloric intake at all, just so that your body is not digesting anything. It's really increasing liver function, kidney function, everything, because it has an extended period of just detoxing your body, where it's not focusing on anything else. So I'll see how I build that in there. But I was just doing water and tea, just a lot of tea to take my mind off of it.
Yeah, tea, and I've mentioned this
drinker
before, that I have herbal teas in the evening, and that's usually kind of my treat. And you can have that during your fasting time period. Is there a time period Has there been a time period during your fast where you say, if I can just get to this certain point, is there a certain time where it's a little bit tough, but then you get over that hump and it's easier? I'm sort of equating it to running. I always say, whether I'm running 3 miles, 5 miles, 10 miles, the first 2 miles are always the toughest. And then once I get past that second mile, I kind of lock in. Is there a time period with fasting that you feel like if you get to 24 hours or 30 hours or a certain period, then your body starts to say, oh, okay, this is what we're doing now. We're not eating. Okay.
Yeah, there's two things with that. I think one of them is a pure mindset. I remember I was doing intermittent fasting and just trying to ease myself into it. And I was walking around like, I'm so hungry. Like I
Hmm.
haven't eaten in 8 hours or like 16 hours and I'm so hungry. Once I decided I was doing a 72-hour fast, the first day didn't seem as hard as when I was just doing intermittent because I knew I had a long way to go. So like the first day didn't seem as hard. I would say the second day is your hardest, but once you hit 48 hours, the third day didn't seem hard at all. Like I started thinking about I could go longer probably
Hmm.
than 72. And so whenever you're getting through that second day was kind of a push. And it's just, when you get into that 72, and I would say towards the end of 72, like that last night though, you do start feeling the more of a fatigue, like energy loss. But really the rest of it was just my mind telling me I was hungry, I needed to eat, but I didn't feel too much energy loss until, the end of day 3. But I didn't feel hungry after day 2. Day 3 seemed a lot easier, which was really cool. Um
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So I want to transition over to the third segment. Always ask the same 3 questions of every one of our guests. So, Michael, for you, what is your definition of success?
The definition of success is, it's really kind of to, as you know, I love this question because it's really just singular to each person. And for me, success is getting the freedom to spend time how I want to, and that's mostly with my family and growing my kids. So that's going to be the biggest form of success. And whatever dollar amount that means from a success standpoint, that's not important to us. It's not a door count. It's nothing like that. It is just being able to do what we want when we want to and do it safely. Like we're secure, right? We're not just living on the street doing what we want. We're secure.
That's right. You have several mouths to feed, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Good. So, question number 2 for someone who is newer to investing or even learning to focus on their goals and their path to success. Do you have a good book recommendation?
Sure. And I knew it was going to be a book, but I wanted to point one out specifically that changed a lot. It was a YouTube video series from Pace Morby, which was the Avatar series. And this is directed mostly to real estate investors. So I got a hold of this 4 years into my real estate journey. And I wish I would have gotten it at the very beginning, right? At the very beginning. It's called the Avatar series. And it just goes over, the 25 different ways that you could make money in real estate and really breaks down the different types of real estate investors that there are, your different skill sets, where they belong in the space. And, I think whenever you enter, you just know you're going to be a real estate investor, but no one actually breaks down all the different ways and all the different traits and all the different jobs and all the different things you could be doing. And if you have that, you're really more geared towards you can start focusing on one thing and really make a damage on it. And for me, like I said, I was just trying to learn everything in every sector, and that introduction really just changes everything. Where you could get laser focused at the beginning.
Well, that's great. I have not heard of that. Obviously have heard of Pace Morby. I've seen Pace Morby speak live, but I've not heard of Pace Morby's Avatar series. So I'm definitely going to add that to my list. And I love that you went with a YouTube selection there. Personally, I know this probably makes me a little bit different. We don't watch much TV in my house. As a matter of fact, the TV's not on until about 9 o'clock at night. And the first thing that comes on is usually podcasts on YouTube on our TV.
Yeah.
So I'm going to add that to the list. That's definitely something that we'll make sure to check out. Before we get to the final question, I want to thank you for coming on. I really appreciate this. As I said, I've been looking forward to this one. I wanted to catch up with you. How can we support you? And then also, how can people reach out to you if they want to?
So the best way for us is still email MTI is our company, and our email is michael@mtinm.com, as in management that is New Mexico. If you want to reach out, we're always looking to network, always looking to educate, and always looking to learn. I mean, we don't mind talking to somebody, even if we don't know what we're going to be talking about, right? It's just good to meet like-minded people and network. We're always looking for private money lenders. We always have a lot of projects going on in the single family space. We could offer a great return on those. So anybody that's interested in that, just reach out. You could find us at our website, also mtinm.com. If you want to look at that and see some of the projects we've done, just go ahead and go through that. And then Facebook, Michael Sanchez. You can find me on Facebook, and we have a lot of our content on there as well.
Excellent, excellent. So final question. If you could think back with me to a young Michael around the ages of 10 to 12 years old, sort of knowing what you've learned so far on your journey, what are 3 pieces of advice that you would give to that young Michael or to any pre-teenage child to help guide them towards success?
Yeah. I think the first thing would be to learn and absorb everything, even outside of academic areas. Just learn and absorb everything. There's so many things I didn't think that I would need to learn, or that it wouldn't come in valuable. And as we got into a real estate or entrepreneurial mindset, everything that you've learned becomes valuable. Anything that you can hinge onto, whether good, bad, ugly, just learn from everybody, every single person. The second thing is read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or something like it, right? I didn't get my hands on that book until way later, but anything that you could do to change your mindset from the W-2 into financial, it's huge for us. I mean, it's not just something that we talk about or a little hobby to us. This is everything. We talk about it. We teach it every day. We really want to change people's lives with that. And then the third thing, everything is achievable. I think a lot of restrictions and mindset I had on myself before was the family environment or the socioeconomic background that we grew up with. A lot of times I think people believe that they're going to end up in the same situation, or that they have to. And with the things that we learn and know now, there's really no limit to what you can achieve or what you can do. So that one sounds like very corny, or everybody kind of says it, I think, at high school graduations, but I would really want somebody to know that there is no limits. There's no limits to what you could achieve, but don't let others put that onto you. Even, everybody around you, just know that they don't let adults restrict what you can do based on what they think.
That's excellent. I love it. I love it. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Michael. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll get to catch up in person again soon. Say hello to Vanessa for me, but make sure you check him out. Management That Is LLC, mtinm.com. Michael Sanchez. Thanks so much.
Thanks
Go out there and make
Bob.
it a great day.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for joining me on the Healthy Investor Podcast. Check out the show notes for more information about connecting with our guest. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please head on over to iTunes and leave a positive rating and review. It would mean the world to me. I'm grateful for your support, and I wish you an abundance of success on your journey to healthy investments and a healthy life.